Imagine an ocean so huge it swallows whole continents. Here, nations are just tiny green dots on a blue planet, born from volcanoes and discovered by sailors navigating by the stars. This is the Pacific, where isolation forged cultures. Navigation rewrote human limits, and modern geopolitics now plays out on tiny atolls with outsized importance. Today on MapMind, we explore the fascinating history of the Pacific nations. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to join MapMind Nation so you don't miss more videos like this. The story begins with fire and water. Most Pacific islands were forged by volcanoes, the tops of drowned mountains rising thousands of meters from the seafloor. Hawaii, Tahiti, and Samoa all began this way, built from eruptions on the Ring of Fire. Some places turned out differently, like the Marshall Islands and Tuvalu, where a volcanic peak gradually sank below the waves. But its reef continued to grow, circling the lagoon it left behind. Together, these forces created a scattered world of peaks, valleys, and reefs. They laid the groundwork for everything that came next. Into this watery world came some of the most extraordinary explorers in human history. Thousands of years ago, Austronesian voyagers began pushing eastward from Southeast Asia, armed not with compasses or maps, but with knowledge written in the stars, the waves, and the clouds. They built double-hulled canoes large enough to carry families, pigs, and breadfruit across open ocean. They read the flight of birds, the shape of swells, and even used stick charts to record how waves bent around islands. Long before Columbus crossed the Atlantic, these navigators had reached Hawaii, Aotearoa, and Rapa Nui, a triangle bigger than North America. Their amazing journeys are some of the coolest in history. When modern boats like the Hoku set sail using old-school methods, it showed that the ancient masters really knew what they were doing. But life in the Pacific was not without its darker chapters. In places like Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and the Solomon Islands, ritual cannibalism existed not as a daily diet, but as part of warfare, revenge, and beliefs about mana or spiritual power. It's a fact of history, though outsiders have exaggerated it into caricature. What it truly reveals is that Pacific cultures, like all others, were complex, both deeply spiritual and fiercely pragmatic in survival. The world beyond the horizon remained distant until the sails of Europe appeared. Explorers like Magellan, Cook, and Bougainville all arrived between the 1500s and 1700s, and with them came guns, germs, and God. Isolation ended in an instant. Entire populations were ravaged by disease. So while we don't have exact totals, estimates suggest that many Pacific societies lost between 70 to 90% of their populations in the century after first sustained European contact. Whalers, sandalwood traders, and blackbirders who forced islanders into labor transformed economies overnight. Missionaries rewrote religious life while colonizers carved up the map into territories that often ignored language and culture. And in the 20th century, some islands became testing grounds for nuclear weapons. With their skies and seas scarred by mushroom clouds, yet through this turbulence, distinct cultural regions held strong. In Melanesia, Papua New Guinea, the Solomons, Vanuatu, and Fiji, thousands of languages thrived, making it one of the most linguistically diverse regions on Earth. In Micronesia, from Nauru to Palau, seafarers of coral atolls perfected navigation in shallow lagoons and vast seas alike. And in Polynesia, shared language roots and deep genealogies bound together distant and diverse societies, from Samoa to Hawaii, from Tahiti to New Zealand. Some islands grew large and powerful, others remained tiny yet influential. Papua New Guinea became the giant of the Pacific, home to more than 10 million people and rich in resources. At the opposite extreme sits Nauru, a speck of land just 21 square kilometers across. In the 1970s and 80s, Nauru became one of the richest countries per capita thanks to phosphate mining, then one of the poorest when the rock ran out. While Tuvalu, with barely 12,000 people, is among the smallest nations on Earth, yet controls an ocean territory the size of Spain. Fiji and Samoa turned tourism into steady lifelines, while French and American territories prospered on subsidies and military bases. In the Pacific, size on a map has never matched size and influence. But modern wealth has come with modern challenges. Traditionally, Pacific diets were built on taro, yams, breadfruit, coconut, and fish. People were lean, active, and strong. But when colonial imports arrived, the balance shifted. Cheap rice, canned meats like spam, refined sugar, and soft drinks flooded local markets and quickly replaced traditional diets. And here's where biology added another twist. Scientists believe Pacific Islanders carry what are called thrifty genes. For centuries, those genes helped their ancestors survive famines and long ocean voyages by storing energy as fat with remarkable efficiency. In an age of scarcity, it was a superpower. In today's world of constant food and processed calories, it has become a serious health burden. The result has been some of the highest obesity and diabetes rates in the world. In response, many islands today are reviving local foods and taxing sugary imports, fighting to reclaim their health as much as their sovereignty. Through it all, traditions have remained a vibrant heartbeat. In Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa, kava ceremonies slow the night into something sacred, a drink of diplomacy as much as relaxation. In Vanuatu, young men leap from towers with vines tied to their ankles, the ancestor of bungee jumping. On the island of Yap, giant stone discs still carry symbolic value as money. Tattoos, from Samoa's pea to Polynesia's moko, record genealogy and duty on the skin itself. And in Fiji, playful beliefs about pregnancy still circulate. If a toddler boy clings to a pregnant woman, it is said to predict the gender of her baby. These stories, rituals, and customs reveal not just resilience but joy, humor, and creativity woven into daily life. Politics, too, has followed unusual paths. Tonga, unlike most of its neighbors, avoided direct colonization by negotiating a protectorate with Britain, preserving its monarchy and regaining full independence peacefully in 1970. Others, like Nauru, lived through a boom and bust cycle of sudden wealth. Still others, like Palau, Micronesia, the Marshall Islands, remain tied to the United States through compacts that guarantee funding and defense. Today, the Pacific once again finds itself at the center of global attention. Courted by China, the US, Australia, and others for sea lanes, seabed minerals, and even United Nations votes. And over everything looms the biggest challenge of all: climate change. Rising seas threaten to erase entire nations like Kiribati, Tuvalu, and the Marshall Islands. Cyclones are getting stronger and wrecking the infrastructure. Saltwater intrusion poisons wells and crops. For millions of islanders, this isn't a distant scenario, but their everyday reality. The Pacific may look like scattered dots on a map, but that's an illusion. Their exclusive economic zones cover areas larger than continents. Their traditions hold some of humanity's greatest feats of exploration and endurance. Their histories reveal boom, bust, survival, and adaptation. And their futures, shaped by climate, cables, and contested seas, will ripple far beyond the Pacific itself. The Pacific Islands are way more than just the edge of the world. They're a mix of volcanoes, travelers, traditions, and rising seas. They're truly the beating heart of everything. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.